back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to go over how to ace your nursing exams, and here's the proof right here. I learned what worked and what didn't work, so I'm going to share all my tips and tricks with you guys. That way you guys can be successful in nursing school too. Let's get to it. First, we're going to start with the basics, okay? And if you are new to nursing school or if you're about to go into a nursing program, let me first break the ice. Nursing exams are different, okay? They're built different. That means you have to be built different. So forget all your prereq classes, like memorization, stuff like that. That's not gonna exactly cut it for nursing school. Shocker. And the tips I'm gonna give you is coming from personal experience. My method is what worked for me. Find the method that works for you, but just a little backstory, I was in a BSN program before and I failed out by 2% because I wasn't prepared. I didn't quite understand the difference that nursing classes are compared to my prereqs. And I had to learn from YouTube because my nursing instructors just didn't teach and they didn't really prepare me to sit for nursing exams. We're not gonna let that be you. I'm gonna prepare you. We're gonna go over the strategies you're gonna need to ace your exams because you're gonna have to acquire a new skill, and that is called critical thinking, and you're gonna be an expert by the time this video is over. And you may be wondering, what is critical thinking? And here's the definition right here, just to give you an idea of what it is. And I'm gonna go over 3 blueprint strategies that you're gonna use on every single nursing exam throughout nursing school. The first one we're gonna start with is ABCs. And what that is airway, breathing, and circulation. So when you're faced with a question about what patient to see first, or what patient is a priority, or what needs are a priority, think of airway, breathing, circulation. Airway is always going to be first. So if you're faced with a patient that, I don't know, let's just say he's holding fluid, he hasn't urinated in a day, his bladder's distended, but now he's aspirating. And aspirating basically means that he's choking, there's something in his airway, he can't breathe. So you might see this, you might hear, or you might see substances in his mouth. Either way, airway is always going to be a priority. So we don't care about the distended bladder right now. We care about his airway, because if he can't breathe, who cares about his bladder? He's going to die. So that's just an example right there. And then breathing, if someone has crackles in their lungs, that means that there's fluid in their lungs. So you're going to want to get familiar with your vital signs. You're going to want to get familiar with your lung sounds. You want to be familiar with heart rhythm and lab values. There's so many important lab values. I'll maybe make a separate video on lab values and vital signs, and we'll make a different video for the lung sounds. But anyway, crackles means that there is fluid in the lungs. So that's not good. We don't want that. You'll see that a lot with people that have congestive heart failure. They might have crackles in their lungs. So breathing is another important thing. If they're not breathing, then you've got to figure out how to fix that. That's going to be a priority. Circulation is going to be your heart. If they're not getting any sensation or blood flow to their extremities, like their fingers, their toes, that could be an indicator of a blood clot. So you have to take care of that, because if you don't treat a blood clot, it can travel up to the brain. So that's important as well. So when you're going through questions through your nursing exam, just think of ABCs, your airway, breathing, circulation, and just in that order. Airway is more important than circulation. Airway is more important than breathing. Breathing is more important than circulation. It's in that order. So just remember that. The next blueprint is going to be your Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's basically a triangle, and it basically sorts out each of your needs of priorities. So your most important needs are going to be on top, and then maybe mental status is going to be down below. So you just have to address a patient's needs based in that order of that pyramid. The next thing we're going to talk about is your nursing process. So you're going to be faced with a lot of questions about your nursing process. And just think of ADPIE. So it's ADPIE. A is going to be assessment. So basically you're gonna get the patient's vital signs, any background information you can get to see what's going on. So the D is gonna stand for diagnosis or nursing problem. So for LPNs, we're doing a nursing problem. We don't do a nursing diagnosis. That's for RNs or people that have their BSN. They do a nursing diagnosis, but for LPNs, it's patient problem. But basically you just have to prioritize what is the patient's problem. The next part is gonna be P, which is gonna be for planning. So what is your plan for that problem or that nursing diagnosis? What are you going to do? What is the plan to help that patient get to where you want them to be? Next part is implantation. So what are you gonna do? What is the nursing intervention that you're going to do physically to fix that problem? So, and then the next one is E, so that's evaluation. So basically at the end of the nursing process, you're gonna evaluate, all right, where is the patient right now? Do we have to go back to P for planning? Is there a new nursing problem? Did, whatever we do, did that help the problem? So you're gonna evaluate the situation. So that's ADPI in a nutshell. When you're going through questions, you always want to assess first. So if you walk into a patient's room and I don't know, they're complaining of pain, okay, well, what's the first step that you want to do? You want to assess. You want to ask them questions. You want to say, where's your pain at? Rate your pain of 0 to 10, 10 being the worst pain of your life. Does the pain radiate? What makes the pain better? What makes the pain worse? You're going to assess the patient. So that's another blueprint to think about when you're going through questions through a nursing exam. Any part of nursing school, you're always going to implement those 3 strategies during an exam. Now we're going to get into how I personally take in my lectures, what I do for my notes, and how I study. So this method is the part where, it may work for you, it may not work for you, take away whatever's going to help you from this video. But I'm gonna go over what I do in class. So when I'm in lecture, I'm paying attention because I'm not getting my schooling for free, okay? I'm paying out of pocket for my program and I'm taking this seriously because this is my career. There are some students that, will sleep during class, I don't know how they're passing if they're sleeping in class, but that's, not my business. But for me, I know that this is my career and I'm going to take it seriously because I want to be a competent nurse. I don't want to be one of those nurses where, I make multiple medical mistakes. You're dealing with patients' lives, so you want to be competent. So I pay attention in class, and this is probably where I developed a caffeine addiction because I always have coffee. When I go to school, I bring my coffee. When I come home from my little hour lunch break, I take back matcha with me, so that's more caffeine. I stay awake, okay? And I make sure I get enough sleep at night. But anyway, let's go over. So when I'm in class, I was trying to bring my binder with my tangible notes, but that ended up not working for me because it was just a lot to write. So what I've been doing now is I take my laptop. I've had this for probably almost 10 years now and it's still good to me. But anyway, what I do is I pull up the objectives for that class. So right now I am in a LPN program and I'm in level 3. I have one more level after this one and then I'll be done, thank God. But anyway, we're doing maternity, we're doing pediatrics, and we're doing Medsurg still. So for whatever class I'm in, let's just say it's, Medsurg. Right now we're doing eyes and ears. So I pull up my syllabus for that class, and for the syllabus, it has a list of objectives for each unit that we're on. I copied my objectives and I pasted them into a Word document. And while I'm in class, I'm taking notes, I'm typing, I type really fast and apparently aggressively too, because I'm like, trying to get all the notes in. But anyway, I'm typing on my notes while I'm also listening in class, and then whatever objective the instructor starts talking about, you can kind of tell when something is important because they'll really spend a lot of time on a subject if it's important. This is my notes I've been taking from this week. This is the eye and ear unit. So what I do is I make the font bigger for each question. So I make it 15 in size, and then I bold it and highlight it so I can easily flip through and see the main key points. I basically just write down any information about that topic. So for this, it wanted me to discuss the anatomy and physiology related to the eye and ear. So I put in the important parts that the instructor was talking about. She really went in on these 3 parts of the eye, so I knew that was important. And then also another thing is I put a star next to whatever I know is going to be on the exam. You can kind of get a feel for what is going to be on the exam when they really say, make sure you know this. Then I know that's probably going to be on the exam. So wherever I have a star, I know to really master that topic. Another thing that I do that I find really helpful, so we do have a separate pharmacology class, and that is for whatever medications we talk about in that unit. So what I do is when I'm entering in my information, I make whatever medication red and bolded, and I also put the pill emoji to be able to quickly find the medications for that unit. For Medsurg, you're going to go over a lot of diseases. So at the end of my notes, I just make a separate page for just medications. So here we have anti-infectives for the eye, anti-inflammatory. So I just mask out every single thing. Another thing with pharmacology is sometimes there are important takeaways for each medication. So I just make sure I put in that. So right here, Diamox, see terrible side effects. I know that the teacher talked about that. So I was like, okay, let me put that in there because she really stressed how there's terrible side effects for this medication. So I just put whatever big takeaways for each medication in there as well. These are all my documents for my notes that I take. So I basically put in what unit exam it is and how many units are within that exam. But I'm going to click on one of these and show you guys exactly what I do as far as my disease processes. So here is a good example. So for each disease topic, for instance, let's go over this one. This is about sepsis. I'm going to zoom in, that way you guys can see it better. So what I do is I write out the pathophysiology of that condition. So this is basically the pathophysiology of sepsis. It's bacteria in the bloodstream that causes a systemic response. It can cause shock and multi-organ failure. So I basically write down the information about that condition, and then what I do, and this is what you want to do for each disease process, especially for Medsurg, is you want to put in the important signs and symptoms. So what I do is I do S/S for signs and symptoms, and then I type out the signs and symptoms for that particular condition. So this one has tachypnea, which is fast breathing. So they have rapid breathing, tachycardia, fast heart rate, fever, hypotension, and neurological signs. So maybe like they lose level of consciousness. I want to put in the diagnosis. So what do they do to diagnose that condition? How do they find out that the patient has that condition? So for this one, it looks like the indicator would be a positive blood culture, increased liver enzymes, increased ammonia levels, and prolonged PT. So that means that their blood isn't clotting the way it should be. Treatment, also you want to add for each condition. So I do TX for treatment. That's just the medical abbreviation for treatment. And it looks like the treatment for sepsis is going to be IV antibiotics and get the vaccine for hepatitis B. So that is what I do for each disease process. Same thing for meningitis. I write out the signs and symptoms, the pathophysiology up here, diagnosis, treatment, and also if there's any complications for a disease process, I also add that in there. So if meningitis isn't treated, it can lead to deafness, intellectual disability, seizure disorders, hydrocephalus, which is fluid in the brain, which is really bad, and they can even be paralyzed. So that's what I do for each and every single condition. You're gonna wanna map it out so that you understand the condition, the signs and symptoms to look out for, how to diagnose it, and how to treat it. Another thing is nursing interventions. So you also want to keep, and here's more notes, but you also want to think about nursing care. So if there is any important nursing care takeaways for a certain condition, so for seizure activity, I wrote out what nursing care is important for that. So if someone's seizing, for instance, they may aspirate because, you know, they lose control over their muscle functions and they might be choking on their saliva or something else. So you want to maintain the child in a side lying position. That way, any fluid that is in their mouth will actually, you know, be able to drain if they're in the side lying position. And, you know, it drains better. You want to monitor their airway. That's why you want to put them in the side. See airway, breathing, neurostatus. But airway is always the most important. You want to maintain seizure precautions. Forgot to put you there. But anyway, and basically that's just, you know, keeping anything away from the patient. Make sure that no one's around. Just make sure it's safe. You can't stop a seizure, but you just want to make sure that they're safe while they're seizing. And of course, nothing by mouth until they're actually awake and oriented. So that's how I lay out my notes. I highly recommend doing this because, especially Medsurg, you're going to have so many different diseases and conditions that you're going to want to know about. And breaking it down like this is so helpful. So helpful. It maps out what you need to know. And then I'm going to tell you guys what I do for my notes. So not only do I make this beautiful notes for every single exam, but I also love doing this because I use an app called NotebookLM. It's by Google. And what I do is I take my notes for that exam and I download it into this. It's a website and they also have an app. And for the website version, you can it's like an AI study hack. It's amazing. It's life-changing. You upload your notes and then it creates quizzes for you. And I love that. And it also creates flashcards. It's better than Quizlet. Like, if you heard good things about Quizlet, you haven't used Google LM because it's like light years better than Quizlet, okay? So it creates flashcards, it creates quizzes for you, and then also what I use the most is it creates podcasts based on your notes. So after I upload my notes into NotebookLM, when I take my shower, when I'm cooking, when I'm cleaning, when I'm doing whatever, even driving, working out, I play the podcasts and I hear the information over and over and over and over again, and it sticks because I keep hearing it. I'm always on the go. If I'm not at school, I'm working. If I'm not working, you know, I'm cooking or, you know, whatever, like I'm busy, really, really busy. So I need something on the go that I can study with, and NotebookLM is it. It's a podcast and it's AI, but they sound like real people, and then the conversation just flows so effortlessly. They also have a version where it's interactive, so you can actually ask questions in the podcast and it'll answer to you. So you can be like, you know, what is this? You know, can you clarify this? Can you talk more about this? And then the AI will be like, blah, 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 da, 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 and like answer whatever you ask. It's like, it's game changing, okay? Especially for nursing students. Like, I wish I had this when I was in my nursing program before. Like, it's like icing on the cake. Like, it's amazing for nursing students. I'll show you how to use it. So I'm gonna flip this screen back over so you guys can see my laptop, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to create study guides, you know, the podcasts, the quizzes, and the flashcards. That way you guys can go ahead and do that while you're studying. But this method has worked for me. I'm able to, you know, when I'm in class, when I'm doing it's my outline, because it's my objectives and I call it my outline. So I'll be filling out my outline while I'm in class, you know, I'm listening, I'm typing, and, you know, then I go in, I upload my notes into NotebookLM, and then it creates the podcast for me. I have a great system right now for nursing school, and since I finally got a good rhythm of a good studying system for me, I'm able to go to the gym again because I have more time now. And while I'm at the gym, I don't feel guilty because I can listen to my podcast while I'm working out. So it just works out for me. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type in NotebookLM. and this is the website that I use. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click this, try NotebookLM, and it pulls up all of my study sources that I've already created. So as you can see, Medsurg, renal 1 through 5, Medsurg, renal 11 through 20. What I will say is I do sometimes, when it is a lot of notes, I do have to break it into certain parts so that it can cover every part of my notes. If you upload too much, it may not cover everything in that document. So that's why I did, this was a big unit. So I did 2 different sections of it. And then this one is my nursing instructor goes over a little review before each exam. So that's just a separate part of stuff that she went over in the review. But this thing is like chef's kiss. Like, I'll go ahead and click in this and just show you. It shows you a little breakdown of the unit. And then also over here is all your study tools. So you have an audio overview. They can even do a video overview, quizzes, flashcards is the podcast part.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are plunging headfirst into, well, one of the body's most complex and vital operations, the renal system.
That's right. We've got a stack of sources here, everything from basic monitoring to, major interventions and diseases.
Yeah, a massive stack.
And the mission today really is to cut through the noise.
I'm going to pause
We want
this.
to pull out those essential.
But isn't that amazing? So I'm going to also show you guys how to interact with it. So I'm going to press play and ask it a question so you guys can see how it flows. I want to ask a question. What does furosemide do for the urinary system? What impact does it have on the renal system?
Oh, that is a fantastic question.
A great intervention, actually.
Because it's a central intervention we need to cover.
Okay, let's unpack this right now.
Furosemide, often known as Lasix, is a really powerful diuretic.
Its main purpose is pulling excess fluid out of the body.
It works directly on the kidney.
It drastically increases urine output.
It's the go-to when a patient is retaining too much fluid and they're swollen.
But here's where it gets really interesting, the consequences.
While it gets the fluid out, it also causes the body to lose potassium really fast.
It's known as a potassium-wasting diuretic.
Okay,
This creates a...
I'm going to pause it. So that was amazing information for furosemide, because you're going to see that medication a lot in nursing school, and they literally went straight to the main points you need to know for that medication. This is why I love using this website and their app. Like, this is what I do all the time. So that's the podcast. It's literally gold. Just the podcast alone I've been using to study, and I've aced almost every single nursing exam. I'm going to show you the quiz. So this is the quiz. So it'll ask you a question. So let's do this together. According to the nursing interventions for renal disorders, which of the following is considered the best laboratory indicator for kidney function? I had this exam already, so I already know this, but it's going to be your serum creatinine. But like, look how amazing this is. Like, I'm telling you, like, when you are in nursing school, or if you're in nursing school now and, if you're not, doing as well as you want to, start using this app and start taking notes like how I'm doing. That way you can upload your notes into this website, and it creates this amazing study guide for you. There's just so much to utilize using this website. I mean, it makes studying literally so easy. And then here's the flashcards. It generates flashcards for you. There's so much you can use from this website. Like, they just have so much to use to study. Like, and it works for all types of learning styles. Like, if you're an auditory person, it's got the podcast. If you're a visual person, it has quizzes, it has flashcards. If, you like watching videos, they even have a video. I haven't used this yet, but because I use the podcast for the most part, but like, I'm telling you, this is a game changer. This is how you're going to succeed in nursing school, because this, like, Quizlet just ain't it. Like, this has everything you need to be successful. All you have to do is take good notes in your class and upload this, and you'll be good. Like, try it out. And I don't know, if you do, let me know in the comments how you guys start doing on your nursing exams. But this has made such a big difference for me personally. You should definitely try it out. All right, and then that is really the main study advice I have for you guys on how to be successful in nursing school. That has worked for me. Like I said, if you want to use these tools, go ahead. Like, coming from someone who wasn't successful in my nursing program before and having to learn what worked best for me, I know how challenging nursing school is. It's a lot of content, and like I said, the exams are set up different. So you really have to master critical, thinking skills, and then also memorizing the content. So it's not just memorizing, you also have to know how to apply the information that you learn to care for patients. So find what works best for you. If you guys have any additional pointers, and comment down below. Let's help each other out. But anyway, that is all I have for you guys today, and I hope you guys have a great day. And for everyone that keeps watching my videos, liking and subscribing, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. My account is starting to grow, and that makes me happy. I'm hoping I can help inspire people, and I can help other nursing students be successful, or at least if you're thinking about nursing school, I hope you guys, once you are there, can be successful, because we do need more nurses. And I know how hard the economy is right now. Like it's really hard, so we need a good career to pay the bills. Like, I get it. So whatever I can do to help whoever's watching, please let me know. Like, whatever wisdom I have to share, like, I'm an open book. Like, I just I love to see people do great. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna say bye again. But I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. See you later.